We are live for UFC 298, Volkanovski versus Topuria. It's going down. We got the big three for you next.
Broadcasting live from an undisclosed location. This is the Community MMA with your host, Chris Cross.
Yes! Yes! Let's go, baby!
Dana White privilege.
Let's go, baby! Baby! Baby!
What up, what up? This your boy Chris Cross checking in. It's going down. UFC 298. Just coming off the Dvalishvili defeat of Henry Cejudo. Will he retire? I didn't see the post-fight interview, so I don't know if he announced it or what. We'll look into that as the night goes on. But it's going to be an interesting night because next up you got Ian Garry versus Jeff Neal. They're both walking out right now, about to get introduced, and this thing's going to be on. Then you got the co-main event with Paulo Costa and Robert Whittaker. That's going to be a banger. And then finally Volkanovski versus Topuria. So we got all three of these for you as the night goes on. Mark Zuckerberg in the house. A lot of UFC fighters in attendance for this one. Please believe it. So get in the chat room. Let me know who you think's going to win this one. Ian Garry. Lots been said about him in the lead up, to this fight, right? I mean, all the WAG stuff about his wife. And then he's getting into it with Colby Covington, Sean Strickland, and the like. So you got all that going on. So he's going to be an upset dude coming into this fight. He's over a 2-1 favorite. But I'm telling you right now, Jeff Neal is no joke. Jeff Neal's number 8 in the welterweight division. Ian Garry, number 10. And here's Bruce Buffer getting him introduced. So Ian Garry's going to be 4 inches taller at 6'3". He's just 26, right? He's about to enter his prime. Jeff Neal in the prime at 33. Getting a little older, but it's not a factor yet. Both guys 75-inch reach. Jeff Neal fights left-handed. Ian Garry fights right-handed. Garry, 6.7 significant strikes per minute. Jeff Neal, 5.2. Takedown game, kind of non-existent for both fighters. They get like 1 every 5 or 6 rounds. So the good news is we're going to get a stand-up striking affair type fight. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. And there's WAG herself. Jeff Neal, 15-5, man. Fighting out of Dallas, Texas. 2-1 underdog. He's 2-1 as a dog. So, anything is possible in this one. All right, so once again, UFC 298, Fight 3, Jeff Neal versus Ian Garry, getting ready to lock horns. And I've been looking forward to this one all week. I love the welterweight division. Love the welterweight, middleweight, lightweight. This is right in my wheelhouse. Frank Trigg is the ref. Never seen him before. So here we go, man. It's tense in there. Jeff Neal's the American. We'll see who they get behind. Ian Garry might lack the support in this one, but if he can get the win here, he's going to become a crowd favorite real quickly. And this fight's underway. Jeff Neal very active, moving around already. Interesting, too, because Ian Garry's 4 inches taller, but the reach is equal. So Jeff Neal does have a little bit of a reach. And Jeff Neal lands a leg kick early on. And Garry returns straight ahead leg kick. First 30 seconds gone. And the welterweight division right now ruled by Leon Edwards, right? Big defeat over Colby Covington. And you love to see Ian Garry versus Colby Covington one day. Might not be too far away. Slow start for both guys that are feeling each other out. Garry tries to land a right leg kick to the head. Partially blocked. First minute gone. Jeff Neal kind of going back and forth between righty and lefty, mostly lefty. But how will that affect Gary, right? I mean, how's it fighting a lefty going to affect him? It's always difficult because those lead legs are always in the same vicinity. It becomes a problem. Gary doing what he does, man. Lead leg kick, jab. Down 6-4 in significant strikes right now, early on. So we made our prediction. We did pick Ian Gary. Listen, we're 6-3 on the night right now. Started out 1-3, won 5 straight. So we're trying to keep this thing rolling with Ian Gary. But as I told you, if you saw the prediction this week, Jeff Neal is no joke. You look up and down his resume. I mean, when he loses big fights, a lot of times he goes to a decision. He's a tough out. And that's why he's ranked number 8 in the division. Now Gary lands a leg kick and a right. And a flying knee. And Gary doing a good job moving around to his right, away from the power, but Jeff Neal's running for him. So, and you can see Ian Gary, how active he is. Forces his opponents to become active too. And Jeff Neal lands a left and a right. Crowd goes crazy. Jeff Neal pins him back up against the fence. Okay. And Ian Gary's the favorite. People expecting him to continue moving up the ladder. You got, new young fighters like him and Shavkat. Hamza was once in the welterweight. A lot of young up-and-comers in this division. But things get tougher when you get in the top 10. Crowd chant some. Can't tell what it is. But right now, Jeff Neal pinning Ian Gary against the fence. 140 left in round 1. Now Gary spins him around. And Gary continuing to work here. They're going to separate. Maybe. No. Jeff Neal now drives him back into the fence. And a lot of clinch control right now between both fighters. So this fight is slowed down even further. And Gary's a guy that's used to landing 6 significant strikes per minute, right? That's 30 per round. Right now it's 11-12 in favor of Jeff Neal. Ooh, big left on the way out by Jeff Neal as both guys get back to the center of the octagon. And here comes Gary with a flying knee and a right. Now a left jab. Ooh, here comes Jeff Neal with a left, right, left. And you're starting to see the pace pick up just a little bit here. Final 30 seconds. And while you're watching, get in the chat room. Between rounds, we'll peek in there. Between fights, of course. We'll get in there. We'll get you the prediction for the co-main event, which I cannot wait. Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa. That's going to be ridiculous. I'll tell you what, Jeff Neal's getting inside and landing some. Interesting round right here. Could go either way. And that'll do it. As you look at the stats, Jeff Neal 16-13 in significant strikes, 18-14 total. Control time 110 against the fence. So I think you gotta lean towards Jeff Neal in that round. And exactly what you expected here in this fight. I mean, Jeff Neal does not play. He's serious. And as you go up the ladder in the welterweight division, things just get tougher and tougher. I mean, you got Shavkat up in there. You still got Gilbert Burns. Of course, you got Usman, Leon Edwards, Colby Covington. This division is always considered one of the top 3 in the UFC. Lightweight being number 1. Probably welterweight and the middleweight might peak in there. Or at least as close. So Ian Gary pacing back and forth. He's still got that energy, man. but didn't show a lot of it in round 1. He's got to pick up the pace here in round 2, and we'll see what happens. Jeff Neal's still bouncing around, and here we go. And Ian Gary very focused. I thought we'd see more from him in the first round, but again, you're fighting a top 10 level opponent, Jeff Neal. You got to kind of feel your way through this a little bit, and that's what he's doing. And the first round was close. Now Jeff Neal breathing deep. Okay, I caught that, Jeff Neal. I caught that. And Ian Gary moving a lot on the outside. And he's got the cardio. Lands a left. Jeff Neal follows now. Ian Gary continually moving. I like it. Now Jeff Neal drives Ian Gary into the fence. And this is where he's got an advantage. Right? A lot of experience for Jeff Neal. Fighting good fighters. Great resume. And he knows how to grind out victories. He knows how to grind out decision victories. And that's why it's going to be, and is right now, an interesting situation for Ian Machado Gary. 340 left, round 2. And also it should be noted that Jeff Neal's 4 inches shorter. So he's lower to the ground, can get into the body. And you see Gary trying to get it lower to push out. And he does. He pushes off the fence. He gets loose. Here we go. So not a big deal here if you can start connecting. 19-19 in significant strikes. So it's tied. Nice kick by Gary. And you can see Ian wants to pick up the pace. You can just tell. Little jittery. Trying to pick his moments, but he wants to pick up the pace. Come on, Ian, get it going now. Get it going. And Jeff Neal not getting tired either. I mean, it's a 3-round fight. Both these guys are going to be full go throughout. But when Jeff Neal was chasing, he's walking with his hands down, trying to get his breath. So if you're Gary, you got to win one of these 2 rounds and then try to pull away in the third. Very possible. Still equal in significant strikes, 22 all. But it's Jeff Neal who's controlling against the fence. No takedown, just all clinch control, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Now he's got the hooks in on Gary. Gary trying to stand up and shove off. And he can't. And there he goes. 145, both guys back in the center. Come on, Ian, you got to pick up the pace now. You got to pick up the pace. Jeff Neal pushing forward, continually chasing Ian Gary, though. So you got to give it to Gary. I mean, he's really working well. Continues to keep his head off the center line. He's never in one spot for too long. But not landing at the rate that he's used to. It's more like 3 significant strikes per minute when he's used to 6. Same with Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal lands at a rapid pace too, very active. But both guys slow down a lot in this fight. Final 50, round 2. Big right by Ian Gary on the way out. Both guys trading here. 40 seconds. Things are starting to heat up. Round 3 is going to be interesting if we get there. Man, you got to love this division. You got power. You got some lightweight technique with takedown defense and clinch control and all that stuff. A lot of technique. And it makes it interesting. Oh, here comes Jeff Neal. Left, right, left combination. Now Ian Gary ties him up. Man, and I'll tell you what, both rounds are really close, man. Final 10, there's a tap. 29-27. Gary in significant strikes. And the interesting thing here is it could be 1-1 and it could be 2-0 either fighter because it's that close. Now they shifted to 30-27. 42-37 in total strikes. Head strikes, though, for Neal. 17-13. Control time, 2:30-12. You know, how much the judges give on that control time, I don't know, because nothing's really happening there. Should really all come down to the striking. But where the striking is close and Jeff Neal is controlling more, that can help. That can help. And now we're getting a look at Jeff Neal's corner just kind of going crazy on him. Stop thinking you're tired. Push. And Ian Gary's standing up. He looks like he's good to go. So, you know, hopefully Ian Gary's not down 2-0. Very easily could be. Could be up 2-0. Could be 1-1. But you don't know. So you got to really, really push in this third round. And it's going to be a shame if one of them's up 2-0 and the other one goes off in the third round and they lose, because the fight is that close right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if the judges gave one round to one fighter in the first and then went the other way in the second, and all three are 1-1. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Very close. And here we go, round 3. Jeff Neal already. Pressure. Right back to control. Ian Gary's back is against the fence. And this is a weakness for him, being the taller fighter. I mean, Jeff Neal continually is getting the hips low, driving. And Jeff Neal misses on a big left on the way out. Ian Gary lands a right leg kick. Misses on the left-right combo. Now lands a jab. And you can see the pace picking up a little bit here already in the third. It's going to be a sprint to the finish. Come on, Ian, you got to pick up the pace, baby. You got to pick up the pace. It's too darn close. Man. But exactly what I expected from Neal. Tough fighter. Another flying knee by Gary. And here comes Jeff Neal, lands a left. And Gary gets out of there. He's moving continually. During the break in between rounds 2 and 3, again, Jeff Neal's corner was yelling at him, quit saying you're tired, acting like you're tired. You're getting in your head. He doesn't appear to look tired. Now, he is getting tired of chasing Jeff Neal, and this is why he goes in for the clinch, and he does it again. Because Ian Gary's continually sliding around the octagon. Jeff Neal puts his hands down and kind of has to chase him. And then finally just had enough, and he goes in for the control. That's probably why he's doing that. He's going to be over 3 minutes of control time now. Again, no takedowns by either fighter, which is no surprise. Jeff Neal content to keep Gary up against the fence. The fans are starting to get restless. And Ian Gary gets out. They're going to like that. And here we go. Halfway through round 3. And are we going to get another night of 3 decisions? There's no way. We need some finishes here. Anaheim needs some finishes. Oh, big knee by Gary with Jeff Neal coming in with his head down. Money. Now pick it up, Ian. You got to make sure you win this round decisively no matter what. And a kick to the body by Ian Gary, who's starting to look more active. Pulling away now, 45-36. Insignificant strikes. A good round right here for Ian Gary. But this is certainly looking like one of those split decision type fights. I mean, definitely looking like a split decision. Because who knows who won the first and second. I mean, it was that close. Jeff Neal still leading in head strikes, 25-23. Gary's got a lot of body shots, 16-2. How much those will count, I don't know. Leg strikes are almost even. Control time is all Jeff Neal. Total strikes is Ian Gary, 65-53. So, very close fight. But Ian Gary winning this round. And I think if you win this round, you win the fight. I think it's 1-1, but it's hard to say. And Jeff Neal coming in now, picking up the pace a little bit. Looking to go in for the takedown. He can't get it. I don't think that's the right thing here with a minute left. I think, man, forget the takedowns right now. You need to throw some punches. And here he comes. Big right, left. Lands on Gary, and then he drives him back into the fence. More clinch control. And will the refs look at this like Jeff Neal is doing this because he's tired? Because that's what it's starting to look like. He's trying to breathe for a second. Over 3:30 of control, final 10 seconds, there's a tap. And this thing is headed to a decision, ladies and gentlemen. And it's going to be a scary one. It's going to be a scary one. Jeff Neal sliding around, putting his hand up. And they hug and talk and listen. Solid fight. Not what you want to see. You know, everybody is going to want to see an Ian Gary KO. But I tried to tell you in the prediction, like, we got Ian Gary winning on a close fight. But Jeff Neal is a dog. I mean, this guy is an absolute dog. Ooh. I'll tell you what, after that knee that Gary landed, he almost landed an elbow coming across. But Jeff Neal landing some punches, taking some punches, getting a look at the replay right now as we await the decision. But man. And you think about it, you know, Ian Gary is supposed to land 90 strikes on average. Jeff Neal's supposed to land 60 to 70. It's 52 to 39. So that's how good each guy is they're slowing the other guy down, not making it easy, sticking it moving. And yeah, Jeff Neal pinned Ian Gary for 3 minutes and 46 seconds, but whatever. In terms of the striking, that's Ian Gary. But they're tied in head strikes. Ian Gary, basically what it comes down to is Ian Gary dominated in body shots, 17 to 3. Jeff Neal dominated in control time, 3:46 to 12 seconds. So how will they see this? It's going to be interesting. Yeah, so Ian Gary led in the second and third round, 17 to 11 and 22 to 10. So to me, he gets the win. I mean, you got to give it to Ian Gary. Let's go. Give me the good news, baby. Give me the good news, Bruce. Give me the good news, baby. Ooh, it's going to be close. I'm telling you, it could be 3-0, 2-1, 2-1 either way. Ian definitely won round 3. Here we go. Oh, no. 30-27, Gary. 29-28, Neal. See what I'm saying? It's tough. 30-27. Yeah, it's got to be Ian Gary. Yes, Ian Gary gets the win. Jeff Neal isn't happy about it, but Ian Gary gets the win. Unbelievable. He's going to move to 14-0 in the welterweight division with the big win over, listen, say what you want, a high-quality opponent in the welterweight division. He moves to 14-0, gets the win, UFC 298. So listen, we're going to take a quick break. We got the big 2 fights coming up next. We're on a 6-fight win streak. We need it. We'll take it. And we'll get into what the picks look like on the night when we get back right after this. You know, and there's a dude list. Of course, Hamza 1, he's coming up. We're talking about him in a minute. Volkanovski 7, he's fighting this week. Is Ian Gary on there? What about Ian Gary? Where's Ian Gary? Ian Gary's not in the top 20. The Max Holloway's at 20. Wow. Man, the due list is getting tough, man. Colby Covington's dropping quick. I have a feeling he's going to be out of the top 20 if he doesn't get his butt together. Sean Strickland's down at 16. My goodness. Aljamain Sterling's barely hanging on. Dvalishvili could win and move up. Ian Gary can win and probably got to move into 15 because he's undefeated. I mean, Bo Nickel, Ian Gary, Hamzat, these are the guys that are coming in the future. Make no mistake about it. I mean, they're coming. So as we shift gears to Hamza, it's crazy, all the talk that he's hype, that he doesn't want to fight. People got a lot to say about Hamza. But I'm here to tell you, the guy wants to fight, man. He wants to fight. And the fact that he still doesn't have a fight is just crazy. And, part of the thing is nobody wants to fight him, too. There's some guys that want to fight him, but then Hamza don't want to fight them, and Hamza's injured and all this stuff. You just got a lot of things, man, going on. And the time is now for this guy. He's got to get it now so he can dominate for 2 or 3 years. But he's also got to take any fight he can get. It's at that point where you just got to keep beating people. You keep beating people, man. These storylines of not having a lot of middleweight fights and all this are going to just fade away. And then they're going to have no choice but to make it, just forget about waiting for the title fight. Make it to where the UFC has no choice. And it's time for you to fight. We've seen that with a lot of other guys. You have the best chance to do it. And it's time. It's time to make it happen. If you're Hamza, it's time to make it happen. Because you got people talking that, like, you're fake, you're not real, you're not as good as they say you are. I mean, it's just wild, man.
Whoa!
I mean, Hamza will beat anyone on the planet right now. Please believe it. Anyone steps in the octagon with Hamza, the night's not going to finish well for you. That's just all I got to say about it. You already know how I feel. Every time we do a live stream, not so much the podcast, we try to keep it, what's coming up this week, and we'll get into Hamza here and there. When we do these other live streams on YouTube and stuff, man, it always leans into Hamza, and it takes over 60% of the time. Even the fans, not fans, but just in the chat room, people are always talking Hamza. That's what people want to talk about, especially if he doesn't have a fight, because everyone wants to know who he's fighting. That's the bottom line. Got one way in saying I agree that the UFC has gotten it quite wrong often on the roadmap for Chimaev. However, is the UFC to blame for his long list of illnesses, injuries, visa problems, Ramadan, etc.? He's a too complex fighter with a tangle of issues around him, which means that he's just fighting one time a year since 2021. And I get the gist of it. I get what you're saying. And these are worthy arguments if you're not a Hamza fan. I'm a Hamza fan. But I will keep it real, and I'll tell Hamza straight up, you got to get in the octagon. It doesn't matter who it's against. And you just got to keep beating people, man. You just got to keep fighting right now. You got to get fights. Because then the momentum of the fans build, even the ones that don't like you, have got to see you fight for the title now because you've beaten everybody. Or 3 or 4, I don't know. And I know Hamza don't want to do that, but he just got to go off for a year. Like, he's got to make 2024, 2025. I'm going to go beat 3 people this year and 3 people next year. And it's going to be whatever. One of those 6 is going to be for the title. And just start doing it. So we're not sitting here next year after one more fight and another year wasted. Like, it is time. I get it. I get it. Pandora, I believe, says at Crisscross MMA. Yes. If Hamza refuses to fight at 300, the UFC is going to mess with him. Screw him. Daniel White has already been screwing him over for not making weight against Nate Diaz and ruining that event. So they will never forget him. he can say goodbye to a title shot for a long season. And I'm not mad that he missed weight at the end of the day, because the UFC in that situation was using him. What does Hamza need to fight Nate Diaz for? And I'm telling you this as a Nate Diaz fan. The guy's not ranked. It does nothing for him. He beats Usman, who's a much higher level than Nate Diaz right now. And look at all the excuses after that. So he goes in there and beats Nate Diaz. Then it's like Nate Diaz is no good, and he's old, and he's not the same person, and all this. There's really no point. So he was being used by the UFC, and I'm not mad at him. I'm not mad at him at all. So Hamza's going to continue doing what he's doing, and eventually they're going to have no choice but to put him in for the title fight. They're going to have to, and that's just the bottom line. But since he's not getting a title fight now, he's got to go and fight whoever, whenever, and as much as possible. I think I'm going to have to start to take that direction too, as I talk more and more about the topic, is that he's got to fight. I don't care. It doesn't have to be for the title right now. We've been going through this for 2 years. He's not getting a title fight. It don't matter if he beats number 3 Gilbert Burns or one of the best men on the planet, Kamaru Usman. It doesn't matter. Everyone's mad that he didn't fight Nate Diaz, because we're looking at Nate Diaz 2016 and not Nate Diaz 2023. It's a whole different era now. He was being used to sell tickets, to sell pay-per-view. It would, and it is what it is. I'm not mad about it at all. Again, the UFC's a business. That's what they have to do. No one's even getting on the UFC or Dana White or nobody. It's like, but understand the situation. That in no way did anything for Hamza. Even if he goes in there, in best case scenario, beats Nate Diaz, KOs him in the first round, it does nothing for a title fight. Okay, it blows him up, but who cares? Is he going to get a title fight? No, because they're still going to let Colby fight Leon. They're still going to, go through this whole process like this. And then now let Bilal fight. And, so Hamza's like, let me go to middleweight because that looks more wide open. Then all of a sudden Adesanya falls. And when the champion falls, the division gets crazy, because it's especially, Leon's going to hold the belt for a while, I think, here. But with Adesanya falling in the middleweight division, now you got, Strickland won it, then Duplessis takes it over. Duplessis might be the next guy, or Hamza will come up soon and beat him, and then, or the UFC wants to sell UFC Africa now, so he's on the, just all these things are going against Hamza right now, to where he's left on the sideline. And it's not fun as a fan at all. Fight 3, this is just an absolute monster of a fight. Robert Whittaker versus Paulo Costa, because Whittaker sliding, he's got something to prove. Paulo Costa, we haven't seen him in a while, and he suffered 2 losses in a row to Adesanya, and I think Marvin Vettori. We'll hear it in the prediction in a minute, but he's still 14-2. He's by no means finished. By no means finished. But does that mean I'm predicting him? Let's get to it right now. In the middleweight division at UFC 298, you got Robert Whittaker taking on Paulo Costa, and which is obviously a title eliminator fight. Neither guy can really afford to lose this fight. Robert Whittaker 25-7, 2-1 favorite. Paulo Costa, the Brazilian, in case you forgot, this guy's 14-2. I'm surprised by that record. I didn't realize he was 14-2. Wow. Costa 6'1", 1 inch taller than Whittaker. He's 32. Whittaker's 33. Okay. Whittaker's got a 2-inch reach advantage. Both guys stand right-handed. Paulo Costa is more active. 6.5 significant strikes per minute to 4.5 for Whittaker. So if you say, hey, this fight goes 3 rounds, you're looking at a 30 significant strike advantage for Paulo Costa. That's crazy. Takedown game really non-existent for both fighters. Whittaker will get one like every 4 rounds. Costa will get one every 6. So it's likely that there's no takedowns in this fight. But if there are, Whittaker has an 82% takedown defense. Costa 79. So even more likely not to have any takedowns in this fight. Now, Robert Whittaker has lost 2 of the last 3 to Adesanya and Duplessis. Former champ and current champ. So might as well wipe the slate clean there. He did beat Marvin Vettori by decision and beat Kelvin Gastelum by decision. Now, Paulo Costa was supposed to fight Khamzat Chimaev, but he ended up not doing it, right? He had to pull out. But he did beat Luke Rockhold in his last fight by decision, and his only 2 losses in his career after starting 13-0 was to Marvin Vettori, decision, and KO by Adesanya. So we really haven't seen Paulo Costa in a while. And I think that's why he's the underdog, because when you look at the numbers, as I usually do, and I usually go with the numbers unless I have a gut instinct, that's why this prediction is very tough. But you look at the numbers, Paulo Costa lands 2 more significant strikes per minute. 30 over the course of 15 minutes. How is Robert Whittaker going to deal with that? Robert Whittaker, to me, is going to have to get a finish here. The first round is going to tell us everything. And Robert Whittaker has not performed well. He's gotten KO'd, but against the champion and the former champ. Robert Whittaker once ruled this division. It's a whole different division now with Khamzat Chimaev in the mix and Bo Nickel on the rise and all these guys. So Robert Whittaker cannot, if he loses this fight, the career is in jeopardy in terms of ever fighting for a title again. I can tell you that right now. So his back is against the wall. But on the other hand, Paulo Costa is getting tired of hearing the noise. He pulled out of the Khamzat fight. He lost 2 fights in a row to Vettori and Adesanya. That wasn't a good look. This guy's had a lot of time to train. And I think he's going to come in serious in this fight. And he's 1 inch taller. He's given up 2 inches in reach, but he's more active. Man, I'll tell you what, forget the odds here. I'm going to have to go with Paulo Costa. As much as I like Robert Whittaker, I'm going to have to go with Paulo Costa to outstrike Whittaker, avoid the KO, and win this thing by decision. Look for round 3 to be ridiculous. As both guys know they can't lose, and it's likely 1-1 going into round 3. I think Paulo Costa pulls it out. He's got more of an upside right now. We know what Whittaker can do. Paulo Costa has a chip on his shoulder, and I think that chip is going to carry him to a victory. He's going to move to 15-2 with the decision win. In my opinion, he's going to lead by 20 to 30 significant strikes to move to 15-2 here, middleweight division, UFC 298. Wow, that even surprised me. I'm sitting here watching it like, yeah, we got Robert Whittaker. But I said Paulo Costa. And see, this is the thing y'all got to realize that happens from time to time, is it's very close in their predictions, and I don't always remember who I went with. So we gotta stick with Paulo Costa here, and he's got a chip on his shoulder. I think Robert Whittaker's back against the wall. He's got both of these guys got a chip on their shoulder. They got something to fight for, and the fact that both of them do makes for a highly, highly interesting situation here in the middleweight division and in Fight 3.
Yes! Yes! Whoa! Boom! 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 Dude!
You're watching the Community MMA. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
Yes! 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 Whoa!
Yes. Welcome back. And this fight's getting ready to kick off like right now. Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa, co-main event. We got Costa to win. We've won 6 in a row, so we got a little room for error now. It's going to be a winning night no matter what. We're 7-3 going in. But it's time to dance. It's time to get down. And we need Paulo Costa to come through. Make no mistake about it. Robert Whittaker getting introduced, and this fight's getting ready to get started. So here we go. Again, UFC 298, Robert Whittaker, Paulo Costa, co-main event. The crowd is going bananas. The crowd is going bananas. And here we go. We haven't seen Paulo Costa in a while. Remember, he's supposed to fight Khamzat. Had to pull out of that one. He was 14-0 at one point. Has lost the last 2 in a row. And Robert Whittaker looking serious. Again, we're going with Paulo Costa because he's got something to prove. And he marches right in. And the question is Paulo Costa that good that he could beat the former champion? Like he's right on the door knocking. And I think since we haven't seen, and this fight's underway, by the way. But since we haven't seen Paulo Costa for a while, you know he's been training. He looks in phenomenal shape right now. And he's going to be engaged in a battle with Robert Whittaker that's going to be serious. A nice head kick already by Paulo Costa. And it's amazing. The crowd right now kind of quiet. Kind of a nervous tension. You got him and Volkanovski in back-to-back fights, so the Aussie crowd is in attendance for sure. No American in this fight, so a lot of people just watching to see a great fight. And another head kick by Costa. Let's go. Let's keep this up, baby. Boy, and both guys very focused, man. Big middleweight division fight. Whittaker number 3, Costa number 6. First 90 seconds gone. And Costa really trying to land the leg kicks, but he pulls back on that one. Misses on the jab. And Whittaker leading 13-8 already in significant strikes. But you can see some of those jabs are taking effect by Costa, who lands a big right. 3 minutes left, round 1. And I feel like someone's going down in this one. Big right by Whittaker. And just a great co-main event. Big left by Whittaker again, because both guys got something to prove, man. Both guys got something to prove. And another leg kick by Costa. And a jab. High level, ladies and gentlemen, high level. Here comes Whittaker with a left and a right. Costa just kind of smiles and says no. Takes a right on his way in, though. Costa better look out. Come on, Costa. And this fight, too, is about how deep is the middleweight division. If Costa at number 6 can beat Whittaker, you know the top 5 is ridiculous. If not, then it's basically the top 3 is where it's at. And Hamza on the outside looking in. More on him later in the night. But it is a middleweight division. Talk about Hamza. You can talk about Dreykus. You can talk about Sean Strickland. A lot of big names in this division, and a big left by Whittaker. 130 left in round 1. So in other words, a lot of people watching this one. Because the winner is like knocking on the door now. And Whittaker pulling away a little bit, 26-14. Insignificant strikes. Oh, and a nice right by Whittaker. Costa smiles again, but he shouldn't be. Final minute here now. And Whittaker throwing a lot more, 44-37. Connecting 55% of the time, too. Ooh. Come on, let's go. Quit talking, Costa. Quit talking, man. And pick up the pace. Whittaker's outpacing him, that's for sure, here in the first. And that's going to be the tough part about this fight for Costa is the fact that Whittaker's outpacing him. He's looking for the big shot. And if he can't connect. Oh! Spinning back kick for Costa. And Whittaker almost finished right there. Oh, what a way to finish the round. Spinning back kick nearly finishes Robert Whittaker. I mean, he was saved by the bell. Literally saved by the bell. Unreal. Let's see it again. Oh, wow. Costa's close, too. Boom. Wow. Wow. Oh, my gosh. Bing. Woo. Yeah. Gosh, he had him, man. He had him. Come on, Costa. Now pour it on, baby. Pour it on right away. Right away. Right away, Costa. Costa revving up the crowd. He likes it. Crowd's loving it, man. Co-main. Even when you have a lot of decisions, it seems like the card still goes by fast. Until you get in the final fight, if it goes 5 rounds, then it's a long night. We'll see. Need Volk to get the big win over Topuria later. We're going to get into all that after we get a decision here, one way or the other. Second round underway, and Costa's not starting as quick as I'd like him to. Yeah, so in round 1, Robert Whittaker had a great round until the last 10 seconds. So how the judge is going to look at that probably goes to Whittaker. Costa doing a good job with the leg kicks, keeping Whittaker back. Come on, Paulo. Oh, a nice leg kick by Whittaker. And Costa just sticks his tongue out. See all that talking, man. Paulo ripping the jabs. Come on, Paulo. Yeah, and Paulo doing a great job with the jabs. I mean, oh. Those jabs are like power punches. So even though he's not landing as much, he's landing harder every time he does. Oh, a big right by Paulo. Catches Whittaker. What do we got? What do we got? Stopping a fight? Is he saying an eye poke? I don't know what they're stopping it for. Yeah, he got poked. Okay. Whittaker saying he's good. Let's go. Yeah, he got him with the thumb. Ooh, goodness gracious. Paulo knew right away, too. 2 minutes gone, round 2. Great fight so far. Whittaker leads 48-35 in significant strikes. Head strikes 33-21. Spinning back fist by Whittaker. Now Paulo Costa with another head kick. So these guys are just going back and forth, man. But the difference here so far is a jab of Paulo Costa. Just keep setting it up, Paulo. Paulo takes a right. Man, and this is a straight battle right here. I mean, this is an absolute battle. 2 guys with unbelievable power, leg kicks. The jab for Paulo Costa is paying off, man. You can see Whittaker. His face looks way different than it did at the beginning. Now he lands a right and a left. Paulo now smiling this time. Better get your mind right. Now he takes a left and backs off. And another leg kick by Whittaker. So, yeah, and you can see Costa's lead leg. Now Costa takes a left. He's still smiling and saying, come on. Man, unbelievable that Whittaker is still, after taking that leg kick in round 1, some shots early here in round 2, he just continues to come, man. 120 left. And I'm thinking between fights, like, there's no way that this fight we've had some decision decisions now tonight, obviously. There's no way that this fight goes to a decision. And here we are deep into round 2. Deep into round 2. Whitaker's starting to duck his head now when he's throwing that left. Got to be careful. Paulo should be looking to counter. But he's not. He's looking to keep landing that jab, and that's not a bad idea either. That jab has been working, and he's got to keep it more active. Nearly misses on a leg kick. In comes Whitaker, takes a left. And I'll tell you, Whitaker looks like he's gone 8 rounds, and he's still coming. Like, not giving up anything. Unbelievable. And despite what it looks like, it seems to me Whitaker, and yeah, you look at the numbers, Whitaker's starting to pull away in the striking area, for sure. Yeah, and round 2's done. Round 2 is done. We're going to a third and potentially decisive round. But you can make the case that Whitaker's up 2-0. 42-24 in head strikes, 64-42 in significant strikes. And although Costa's landing, and probably landing with more force than Whitaker, Whitaker's landed more often. So right now, I think you got to give it to Whitaker, despite what it looks like, despite what the fighters look like. Because Paulo Costa looks clean, Whitaker does not. But when you look at the stats, it's a Whitaker right now. That doesn't always mean everything. Here we go, round 3. Man, this fight is ridiculous. Man. Middleweight division, high level. Former champ versus a guy that was just 14-0 about 2 years ago. Dropped 2 tough fights to Marvin Vettori and Adesanya. But he's beaten everyone else. Just got to win at the top. And this is a big deal for both guys. And both guys coming out quick. Man, this round's going to be ridiculous. Now Whitaker over a 2-1 favorite in round 3. And is that because people believe that Costa's slowing down? I mean, Whitaker is starting to pull away in the numbers. So he's speeding up. But Costa's power has not wavered. He just has to land more. He's got to throw the jab a lot more. Both guys trade leg kicks at the same time. A lot of people saying 19-19. I don't know. I don't know if you can give the first round to Paulo. I mean, I guess because he nearly finished him. It looks good at the end of the round. I don't know. One minute gone, round 3. Big right by Whitaker. Okay. Dang it. Come on, Paulo. Need you, baby. I need you. Need you to get this KO. Keep this win streak alive. I knew this was going to be a tough one, too. I knew the Ian Gary, Jeff Neal fight was going to be a tough one. We got that. It's hard to get 2 tough ones in a row. Come on, Paulo. Nice leg kick. Ooh. Uh-oh. That lead leg is now a problem for Paulo Costa as Whitaker continues to chip away at it. And he's done it throughout the fight. 23 of them. Ooh. Big right hand by Whitaker. Gosh, and it feels like a full round, only 2 minutes gone. The pace is picking up. Paulo saying, come on. Paulo Costa gets the crowd pumped up. He says, come on, right here. Bring it. Stay in here. Let's trade. But Whitaker's not going to do that. Whitaker's had success by moving. Now straight leg kick by Paulo Costa. In a couple weeks of this, man, where these fights are just going the distance in a big three. Going the distance. We got to talk our way through it. It's all good. Nice body kick there by Costa. Whitaker comes in with a double jab. And both guys got to be tired. They don't look tired, though. I'll tell you that. They don't look tired. But we'll see what they got in the gas tank, because this is one of those fights going to come down to the final 2 minutes here. Whitaker leading 32-20 in round 1, but nearly got finished. Then 32-22 in round 2. It's 13-12 right now. So Whitaker could finish his fight leading in all 3 rounds. And another nice jab by Costa. He's got to finish. Costa's probably got to win this round. Shouldn't say probably. He has to. And hope to get round 1. Oh, spinning back kick misses. Oh, my goodness. Come on, Costa. Catch him one time. Boy, and both guys kicked each other's leg. Look out. Costa didn't like that at all. Final minute of the fight. And what a fight here, man. High-level middleweight division fight. These guys are going at it. Take nothing away from the loser. 89-58 now for Whitaker in significant strikes. It's the same in total strikes. So every time these guys land, it's significant. 62-34 in head strikes. And Whitaker really going to work on that lead leg. And to me, Whitaker's pulling away here in round 3. It's looking tough for Paulo Costa. And he lands a nice left jab, 16-9 in this round. And this is going to doom Paulo Costa if he can't have a strong finish here. Dang, Paulo. You're going to cause a win streak to come to an end, huh? Dang. Come on, Paulo. Final 5 seconds. And Whitaker's pounding away. And see, Paulo's talking, but he's losing. And Paulo Costa puts his finger up like he won. Whitaker thinks he won. But I think Whitaker's going to squeak this thing out, man. 93-59, Whitaker in both significant and total strikes. That's a big deal. Head strikes, 63-34. And other than that, big spinning back kick early or late in round 1. Whitaker seemed to me like he won the fight. I don't see how you can give Paulo Costa 2 rounds. Oh, my goodness. Whitaker just doing a great job kicking that lead leg. And you're seeing this more and more become a factor in fights. Something that has emerged over the last year to 2 in the UFC, for sure. The lead leg kick, calf kick, has changed the dynamic of fights. Costa still seems like confident that he won the fight. I don't think so. I don't think so. Waiting a decision now. Just can't make the case that he won. And here we go. Win streak's about to be ended, I have a feeling. The win streak is about to be over. It was fun while it lasted. 6-3 right now. Or 7-3, excuse me. Probably about to be 7-4. Here we go. Come on, Bruce. Give me a miracle, Bruce. Give me a freaking miracle, man. 29-28. 29-28. 30-27. It's got to be Whitaker. Well, yeah. Robert Whitaker gets the win. Dang. And the win streak is over. But listen, great fight right there. Middleweight division. Neither of these guys is going to fight at UFC 300, it looks like. You never know if you get a quick finish. Guy could get the call, but it's not going to happen. Robert Whittaker holds serve in a great fight. Great attempt by Paulo Costa. Take nothing away from him. He falls to 14-3. Whittaker 26-7. And now he'll get a fight above him. And that's what you want if you're Robert Whittaker. Middleweight division, UFC 298. All right, so as we continue marching forward in the big three, we got one fight left. We're going to get to it right after this break. But Robert Whittaker doing a darn thing. We got Volkanovski and Topuria. Main event. We need Volk to win. We'll get down and explain that further when we get back. Dana White just up and walked off the Howie Mandel podcast, basically before it began. And I know you've seen this by now. We just haven't been able to get to the podcast till today. Dana White goes on to Howie Mandel's podcast. Howie Mandel does this 1 minute introduction of how great Dana White is and all this stuff, and he's going on and on and on, and it finally goes to Dana White, and he says, that's it, I'm tired of doing podcasts, and basically, I'm out of here. He takes off the headset, he walks off, and that's it. And they're left stunned. Howie Mandel's left stunned. And my first thought when I saw this is, come on, Howie, get to Dana White. This is ridiculous. And then Dana White walks off, and I'm kind of stunned too, but I'm like, this looks staged to me. It looks like it's fake. Other people were saying the same thing. But in hindsight, maybe it wasn't staged. Maybe it was real. Maybe Dana White is just sick of doing podcasts. I don't know. I'm caught in between. But of course, people are weighing in on this topic, of course. Absolutely. A lot to talk about on this one. Because you got to go on these podcasts, and then these hosts on these podcasts sit there and give you this long introduction. It's like, I'm more with Joe Rogan on this one. It's all unnecessary. Like, just start talking right away. Ask Dana White a question as he's putting headphones on. Don't even give him time to sit down. Start asking questions. I love when Howard Stern does the same thing. Just go right into it, man. Everybody knows who Dana White is. There's no need for an introduction. And he doesn't want to waste a minute if he's got a busy schedule and doing all this stuff. And then have to go and say, thank you, Howie. Thank you for the introduction. Oh, it's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, it's just fluff. It's fake. So that's what makes it tricky, is it might not have been staged in the sense that that's just how Dana White is. And that's what we love him for. Even when we get on to Dana White, which we rarely do, we're usually on his side in terms of fighter pay, in terms of how he approaches the media and the ridiculous questions he is asked and then has to answer sometimes. It's just, you just love Dana White and the reactions. Love it. And if he wants to walk off the podcast, fine. I wish he would come on my podcast and walk off. Because that's instant, promotion. Like, everybody knows that Howie Mandel has a podcast now. I didn't know. I didn't know Howie Mandel had a podcast. Did you? Maybe you did. I certainly had no idea that he had a podcast.
Are you serious?
Yes. Yes, I had no idea.
Serious?
Yeah. So if he comes on our podcast and Dana White walks off, everyone's going to know who the TCMMA podcast is. Everyone's going to know who Chris Cross is. I mean, that's just how it goes.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's the Dana White effect, man. Dana White comes on the show. He just got to stay for 30 seconds. I'll say whatever, and then he just has to get up and walk off.
Dana White privilege.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
Dana White privilege. Privilege. Privilege.
Yeah.
Privilege. Privilege.
Yeah, he could get up and do whatever he wants, man. That's Dana White, man.
Dana White privilege.
He's got the privilege to get up and leave whenever he wants.
Privilege.
He's got the ability to. It's Dana White. It's Dana White. Like, do you think when Dana White leaves the UFC, whenever, hopefully it's not anytime soon, please God, but when he leaves, do you think we'll still watch the press conferences in the same way? If it was just stale and generic? No, we like when Dana White doesn't answer questions or up and walks off the podcast, or that's what we love. It's stuff like that that has made the UFC great. The personality of Dana White. And I know everyone loves him in the UFC, right? So he's not going anywhere. But can you imagine if they try to just move on one day to a different person? It's just not going to be the same. And, you know, it's going to happen one day. Just like I'm going to be too old to do podcasts, and however long that is from now. It's just part of it. I mean, the UFC will move on one day, but it's not going to be fun, man. It's going to be a rough day when Dana White leaves.
Oh my God, bro.
Because right now, I'm watching the post-fight press conference, not even for the news, but really just to see what Dana White does next, what he says, what questions he finds stupid as heck. What do you think about Jake Paul? What do you think about boxing? What do you think about Bellator? What do you think about all these topics these guys bring up? And then Dana White's going to say something outlandish and crazy in a good way, and then people eat it up. I eat it up. I love it. So when he leaves one day, it's going to be crazy. But again, I wish he would come on our podcast and walk off. He's in Dana White. We speak your name. You're invited, man. Well, here we go. People weighing in. This wasn't staged. Howie is mad. This is Canadian passive aggression. Howie's introduction of Dana White was not intended to the flattery. Dana must have said something mean to the other guest, and it rubbed Howie the wrong way. This is what a mad Canadian looks and acts like. Dana's thank you was equally as insincere as Howie's introduction of him. The only way to beat passive aggression is passive aggression. Anything else, and you lose the fight or the argument. Yeah, so I hear you. So it wasn't staged. Yeah, and that's the part that's tricky. Is like, I don't know, man. It really could go either way. I mean, it certainly can go either way. Pablo says you can tell by the look on their faces it wasn't staged. All right, so 2-0. Delma Roberts says, nah, no way it's staged, Dana White. Don't get down like that. That's not his style. You could tell he was generally pissed. And without seeing the video before, it almost looks like he's pissed because of the long introduction. And you guys are saying, one of you saying passive aggression, and that Dana White doesn't do that. And I agree with you. I tend to agree with you. So there's probably something on the video before that we don't get to see, obviously, that happens. And what Howie's other guy in there, whoever that was, he said, I could see you guys are getting along real well. So there is something there that must have happened. It's interesting. There's something there that must have happened. That's Dana. No time for bull. If not staged, they're not showing everything. And that's the point. There's something else there that we don't get to see. There's just something that we don't get to see. But yeah, at the end of the day, man, Dana White just took off. Howie kept looking at the camera while blowing smoke up his butt and repeating himself. The co-hosts were off, to especially the guy he said was getting along with him. Yeah, exactly. This is definitely a Dana White thing. This is most certainly not staged, because all it does is make Howie's pod look bad. I don't know, man. Bad press is good press. I didn't even know Howie Mandel had a podcast until Dana White walked off of it. I mean, this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is good for Howie Mandel. I mean, if you know how to take this type of news and spin it and in your favor, and not come out and answer questions like people expect you to, and just say, listen, I was shocked he walked off, and just stick with other stuff. You know, go more with against the grain is what I'm trying to get at. Don't go with the basic premise. Look at this like, hey, I'm getting a bunch of free promotion, man. People that didn't even know how to podcast don't have a podcast. Because, listen, again, I didn't know. I had no idea that he had a podcast until Dana White walked off of it. So it doesn't make it look bad. It makes people say, oh, wow, he's got a podcast. If half of those people go and watch it one time, it's a great thing. Because then if he's any good, people are going to keep listening. So any press is good press, my man. Any press is good press. In the main event, Volkanovski trying to rebound from the KO loss to Islam Makhachev. He took that on short notice. He's taken this on quick turnaround time, not against the guy in Topuria that you want to do that against. But Volkanovski has been unstoppable in the featherweight division. Will that run continue? If not, Topuria grabs the belt and we have a new champion who will probably reign for a while. And then you get Max Holloway back in the mix. So I think there's going to be a lot of people rooting for Topuria. But that doesn't mean Volkanovski is just going to lay down by any means. Let's get into that prediction right now. In the featherweight division, for the featherweight division title, you got Alexander the Great Volkanovski coming in at 26-3, dominant in this division, but taking on a good rising challenger in Ilia Topuria, who comes in at 14-0. So let's get right into it. Topuria 1 inch taller at 5'7", but he's given up 2 inches in reach to Volkanovski, 71-69. Both guys stand right-handed. In terms of activity, it's all Volkanovski, 6.2 significant strikes per minute to 4.4. In terms of the takedown game, that's Volkanovski. Actually, it's very close. It leans Topuria, but both guys land about 2 takedowns over the course of 3 rounds. Topuria, though, 92% takedown defense. Volkanovski, 70% takedown defense. So both guys really well-rounded, very close in takedown average. Topuria is going to defend a lot of takedowns here, but even if it stays standing, that still leans toward Volkanovski. Now, Volkanovski has went up to face Islam Makhachev for the belt, right? In the last fight, though, he got KO'd. He got knocked back down to earth in that one, but he took it on late notice. Prior to that, he beat Yair Rodriguez, held on to the belt by KO, lost to Islam Makhachev by decision when he was well prepared, and beat Max Holloway time and time again by decision. The one thing you see with Volkanovski is he's a high output guy. He lands a lot of significant strikes, especially in featherweight division fights. Now, Topuria, on the other hand, is undefeated, right? He's 14-0. Now he's coming off wins over Josh Emmett, decision. He submitted Bryce Mitchell. That was a big one. Beat Jai Herbert by KO and Bryce Hall by KO. And this is a tough one for me because you want to think in the featherweight division, Volkanovski is unstoppable, and he is. But how will he react? How will he come back after being dominated by Islam Makhachev? Yeah, that was a lightweight fight. Yeah, he's going up 10 pounds to 155. But now he's been KO'd. He's been brought back down to earth. How much will that weigh on a guy's mind? The next fight after you get KO'd is always your toughest fight. And that might be why Sean Strickland fell to Jared Cannonier after getting, KO'd by Pereira. So if the door is open for a guy to win the belt in the featherweight division, it's certainly here with Ilia Topuria. But I can't go against Volkanovski. I mean, the guy is still great. He's got it in his name. And as good as Topuria is, and as much as I believe he could snatch the belt here, I'm still rocking with Alexander Volkanovski. The guy is too good on the feet. Topuria is going to have to break through that takedown defense of 70% by Volkanovski and land some takedowns and control it that way if he's going to win the fight. He's not going to stand up and strike with Volk. If he does, I have to see it to believe it. So I'm leaning towards Volkanovski to win this fight, but it's not going to be easy. 48-47, unanimous decision, maybe split decision, but it's going to be 3 rounds of 2 on all judges' scorecards. It's going to be that close of a fight. But in my opinion, Volkanovski wins to move to 27-3 here, featherweight division, UFC 298. Yeah, there you have it, man. The pick is in, and we covered all the bases in that one. Volk coming off the KO loss. Ilia Topuria, number 6, has a big opportunity. But at the end of the day, I just think Volkanovski's too much in this division. Until he falls, how do you pick against him? Like if you're making picks and you got to get past the emotions of liking a fighter, maybe I like Ilia Topuria and think he could get the job done. It's impossible to go against Volkanovski in this situation based off previous experience. It's just that simple.
Yes! Yes! Whoa! Boom! 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 Dude!
You're watching the Community MMA. And now, back to your host, Chris Cross.
Yes! 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 Whoa!
Man, and here we go. Here we go. Volkanovski versus Topuria. The featherweight title is on the line, and a lot of nervous tension in the building. And you got to give it up to Volkanovski. Like, this guy, he comes back 3 months later after a KO and he's going to defend his belt. Like, you don't see a lot of champions do that. You don't see a lot of champions do that. And it's game time. Volkanovski entering the octagon as we speak, and we're going to get the introductions, and this thing is on. And I can't wait for this one, man. Come on, Volk. We need this, baby. And just to show you what's on the line for tonight, this is how things look throughout the night. Of course, we'll get to this deeper on the podcast tomorrow, but started out the night 1-3, then won 6 in a row. Changed everything. Lost with Paulo Costa. We're back to 7-4, so it's going to be a winning night. 26-22 coming in, so we're going to spread that out a little bit regardless of what happens here. But 3-2 in the main event would not be pretty. 4-1 would be. So that's what we're banking on here in this fight. So let's go Volkanovski. Both fighters about to get introduced, and we're going to be on and popping. Event of the evening. Okay, Bruce. And you know, what chances do you give Topuria here to win this fight? Right? You might think, oh, he's a number 6 contender. He doesn't really have a shot. The guy is 14-0. But Volkanovski has continued beating defender after defender of the belt. I mean, he's beaten, Holloway, 3 times, 4 times, whatever it is. Other guys have come up. He's beaten them. So he just continues to beat everybody. And now, Bruce is the man, bro. Bruce Buffer is the man. Yep, this is the moment we've been waiting for sure. Topuria talking a big game. And Volkanovski, old man Volk, coming with the glasses and the hat and sleeping during the press conference. I mean, it's just great, man. What a great champion. That's why they call him Alexander the Great. It's time. Let's go, baby. Let's go. This thing is so big, the dog woke up in the middle of the night. Even the dog woke up in the middle of the night. So Ilia Topuria getting introduced. He's 5'7", 144. Both guys 1 pound under the limit. 14-0. And arguably the toughest competitor for Volkanovski since Holloway. And you saw what he'd done in his last few fights. I mean, just ridiculous finishes. And Volkanovski, of course, the champion, but he's busy looking up at the lightweight division with Islam Makhachev, right? Meanwhile, you got some contenders rising, looking to take you out. But Volk's so confident. He's getting older, but he's just 35. He's slowing down, but he's not there yet, and that's why we're taking him. He's getting introduced now. He's 26-3, 5'6", 1 inch shorter, fighting out of Australia. It was almost a toss-up going in, but a lot of late money coming in on Volkanovski, so he's a slight favorite in this thing. And that's just how it looks going into the fight. But all the talking's done, man. All they're trying to figure this stuff out, it's done. It's time to get to it. So here we go. UFC 298 main event. Volkanovski versus Topuria. Let's get it. Let's go. And this is going to be a crazy fast-paced fight, I have a feeling. Remember what I said going in the prediction. We like Volkanovski, but the first round is going to be critical. after coming off the KO. And you got Topuria saying he's going to finish him in the first round. So we'll see if Topuria gets off fast or he just used that as a talking point. Topuria is a big dude, man. He almost looks like Makhachev in the lightweight, but he's featherweight. Oh, my God. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Topuria looks confident. Come on, Volk. We need this, man. We freaking need this. Just keep doing what you've always done. Fight's underway. Here we go, baby. Stay with us throughout. Topuria comes in with a right. Crowds chant Ilia. We'll see if the Aussies step up. You know the Aussies are going to step up. Remember, it's a championship fight. Headliner too, so it's guaranteed 5 rounds. Not guaranteed to go 5 rounds, but guaranteed to be a 5-round fight, especially when the title's on the line. And both of these guys just feeling each other out right now. Not a lot of striking going on just yet. Remember, Volk's always dominated in this division. That's why I say in the prediction, there's no reason to go against him until he loses. Honestly, first minute gone. Volk's got a slight lead, 4-1 in significant strikes. Ilia's starting slow. Yeah, and Volk's landed a lot of kicks early, man. Just trying to keep Topuria thinking, keep him off pace. And another one. And Volk listening to all the talk this week. You're getting old. You know, your time is done. That's why he came to the press conference that way. And he's here to prove a point. And that's what we're banking on, baby. First 90 seconds gone. And now a leg kick by Topuria. A nice one. Spins Volk around. Almost took him off his feet for sure. Now Ilia beginning to pick up the pace here. First 2 minutes gone in this fight. Come on, Volk. You got to start landing here. Ooh, a big right by Ilia. Yeah, is that leg kick bothering Volk already? Goodness gracious. And Volk switching to lefty. That's not good. Yeah. And we've seen this throughout the last few fights, these leg kicks. And really going back to the leg kick win tonight by Marcos Rogerio de Lima, American Top Team, staple. Of course, he finished with 3 hammers. But it was a leg kick that finally took out Junior Tafa. And we've seen that in each of the 3 fights tonight. We like to call it the big 3. You have guys trying to land leg kicks and really slow down the lead leg of their fighter. And there's another one by Topuria. Let's go, Volk. Volk lands a left-right, takes a right. And he smacks up against the fence. Now he's talking trash. And again, Volk's got to just get through round 1, right? He's still got that KO fresh on his mind. You know he's thinking about it. It'd be crazy to think he's not. It's a rude awakening, man. Especially with what you've seen Topuria do in the division. Finishing some top contenders. Both guys back to the center. No takedown attempts, nothing like that yet. Both guys just content with standing up and striking, and Topuria's got a huge right hand. He just nearly missed Volk. And we know every year champions go down. Will Volk be the second one to go down this year? Sean Strickland fell at 297. Come on, Volk. Pick it up. A lot of talking going on in the octagon between these two. Oof. And Volk trying to get a takedown. He can't get it. Lands a knee on the way out, though. And the crowd likes that. Both fighters got a lot of fans at this one. It's probably 50-50, believe it or not. And there's a tap. 10 seconds left. Volk misses on a leg kick. And man, he's flat-footed and low to the ground. But Topuria definitely looking good. Looking like he's outpacing Volk, but he isn't. It's 20-15 Volk in terms of significant strikes, but Topuria leads in head strikes 9-3. So here we go again. How are the judges going to view that round? I mean, you got Volk leading in significant strikes, but it's a lot of body and leg kicks. Topuria leading in head strikes 9-3. So maybe Topuria could sneak that round. Who knows? And that round could come back later in the fight if it goes to a decision. Especially if we have some decisive rounds. Yeah, and you see that, oof. The calf kicks, man, from Topuria. Ridiculous. Boom, big left by Volk. We're getting to look at all the replays and slow motion, different angles, and both guys just trading. Both guys landing some big strikes throughout the fight so far. Round 2. Both fighters touch gloves. A lot of respect, despite the talk. And usually you see Volk, as the fight goes on, starts to pick his opponent apart. The odds are even again. So a lot of people looking at that like Topuria probably got that round. But Volk will outpace his opponents most times, especially Max Holloway, a guy that is as active as anybody. He slows him down, lands more strikes. But now you got a guy like Topuria who can land calf kicks. And you see it's affecting Volk because he's standing lefty for most of his rounds so far. Now he moves to righty. And now when Volk goes back to righty, he's landing leg kicks, lead leg kicks quick. He's trying not to take any further kicks on that leg, at least right now. Ooh, big right by Ilia. Oh boy, here comes Topuria inside, and Volk pushes him off with the knee. And Topuria certainly shown signs of life in this fight already. Showing he can get in there and bang with Volk. And it's, again, you can tell right now, this is the toughest fight for Volk so far in his title defense. Even against Max Holloway, it never seemed like Max had a chance. Right? Because Volk would just outpace him, win more rounds. This one is a different story. And when you see Volkanovski, he's switching to lefty, back to righty, back to lefty because of those calf kicks. Just that in and of itself is showing that Topuria is having an effect. Those leg kicks, those calf kicks are having an effect. Islam Makhachev saying Volk won the first round. He's up 1-0, I don't know. Nice left by Volk, another one. He's moving a little bit better. Those calf kicks are non-existent right now for Topuria. It's now Volk who's landing a lot of leg kicks. And he's closed the gap in head strikes. 19-16, Topuria still leads. So that's what's going on right now. Volk up by 9 significant strikes. So he's starting to pull away a little bit. And that's what we talked about in the lead up to this fight, right? Round 1 is the key. Volk's got to get through round 1 even if he loses it. Then he'll take over the fight. And that's what we're banking on right now. Too early to tell. Come on, Volk, get it together. 150 left. Round 2. Topuria coming in. Topuria's continually coming forward, though. You got to give it to him. He's right in the mix on this. Nice leg kick by Volk. Let's go, Volk. Ooh, nice right by Topuria. Look out. Volk felt that one. Oh! Volkanovski goes down. He's out. It's over. Oh, my God. Ilia Topuria KO'd Volkanovski, and the run is over. The run is over, and this might be it for Volkanovski, man. 2 KOs in a row, and I mean, this is a KO. This is bigger than Makhachev's KO, and Ilia Topuria is going to be the new featherweight champion, and people are losing their minds in the crowd. And just like that, the run is over. We saw it with Usman getting dropped by Leon Edwards. We've seen it now with Ilia Topuria dropping Volkanovski, and things are changing, man, in the UFC. There's new champions coming. Dricus du Plessis steals the belt at 297. Now Ilia Topuria steals the belt at 298, and we were dead wrong on this one, but you know what? It is nice to see a new champion on some level, especially an undefeated champion. And, man, let's see this again, because Volk is done. Volk takes a left. Yep, he felt that. Boom, big. Oh, he caught him with that right. Unbelievable. Yeah, man. Boom, left, right misses. Then continues with the right and catches Volk. And that's it. Wow. Unreal, bro. Come on, man. Bing. He missed with the right, and then bing. Volk never saw it. Volk never saw it. Both guys were in the telephone booth trading, and Ilia Topuria KOs Alexander Volkanovski. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. And now we wait on it. And new, baby. Oh, my goodness. And when you look at the numbers, peeking into the numbers, Volk still led 46-43 in significant strikes, but the head strikes at the end for Topuria, 29-19. No control time. Exactly what you like. Straight striking. And Volk led in body and leg strikes, but none of that matters, right? It's a KO, but that's the way things stand. And we're just in that lull right now waiting for the announcement, and Volk gives him a hug. Both guys talking it out, and you got an undefeated 15-0 Ilia Topuria, new champion. And so now you've seen the middleweight and featherweight belts change hands at the beginning of the year. And here comes Ilia Topuria's kid with a rose, and he's all dressed up in the suit. That's cool. That's cool. And it's always tough to see these things, man, because Volk is a great, right? He's a great champion, like Usman was, long time. Volkanovski, long time champ. And as we move forward, who's next? Who else is going to lose the belt? The light heavyweight's been changing hands. The middleweight just changed hands. Now the featherweight. I don't think the lightweight's changing hands. I don't see Islam losing. Bantamweight could change hands next at 299. And is Sean O'Malley shivering right now? Because all the champions are going down. He's not a long-time champ, but all the champs are going down. And now Vera's got the chance. Marlon Vera's got the chance. Chito Vera at 299 to keep the streak alive. And, I mean, everybody is in the octagon right now. I mean, everybody. Giving Ilia Topuria his props, and we're just waiting on the announcement. We got to wait for the announcement. It's the best part. Wow, wow, wow. Wow. And Volk can't believe it. You could just tell he's going to be emotionally upset after this one. He's trying to hold it together right now. Man, Volk, I feel for you, bro. Yeah, Volk's on the verge of tears, man. Here we go. Here we go. KO. Yeah. And new. Yes. Featherweight. Undisputed featherweight champion. Undefeated. All that stuff. You know how Bruce gets down. But Ilia Topuria, man, 15-0. And wow. Wow. Much credit to this guy, man. He gets the win over longtime champion Volkanovski. Featherweight division, UFC 298. So listen, man, we appreciate y'all watching. It's been real. It's been a great night. And even though Volk went down, we're still 7-5 on the night. 3-2 in the main event on the year, though. Listen, this is the first year in the last 3 we've been on a losing streak so early. Things have been rough the last 6 months. A lot harder to make predictions, but it is what it is. First losing streak of the year, and we're only in February. So but at least we're 3-2 in the main event. We'll take that. And we'll see what happens next week. UFC Mexico City. We'll be back with predictions all week long. For now, this is your boy Chris Cross. Hope you have a great day and God bless. And new. Peace.